So I've been learning Master Raven recently, and I've wanted to learn how to do her crouch dash cancels, and I play on a Hitbox. And I couldn't really find a good resource on how to do it, and it took me a few days to actually figure out how it works. So I thought I'd make a quick video to show people who want to play Raven and use Hitbox how they can do this crouch dash cancel. The first thing that I ran into with doing these is it's really finicky to do it the way that pad players or stick players do it. If you don't know how Raven's crouch dash cancels work, you can do down to down towards and then immediately tap down towards again to do 2 in a row, but then you're kind of stuck. You can't do any more. However, if you let Raven stand for a frame by basically just going to neutral for a frame and then immediately input another crouch dash, she will be able to chain this indefinitely. And shout out to Mendez, whose guide was super helpful for helping me understand how this mechanic works. The problem with doing this on Hitbox is that sometimes with Hitbox, if you go back to neutral like super fast, the game doesn't understand how to handle that. So like it makes it really weird. It's the same problem that you have with like doing backdash the normal way on Hitbox. Like you see there, that was a down back to a back, but I did it so fast the game didn't process the neutral input. That's why it's much easier to use a thing called SOCD by holding back and tapping down and towards to do your Korean backdashes on Hitbox. Well, a lot of Tekken players may not realize that there's also SOCD for pressing down and up at the same time. And when you do this, it actually cancels to an up input. The reason for this is that people who designed Hitbox for Marvel players, and they wanted to do like instant down up charges and air dashes and stuff, so like jumping out of crouch. Not really something that we do in Tekken a whole lot of. But you may have stumbled across this if you like to use an ungodly teabag animation on your friends with your Hitbox. What's cool about this for Raven is that if you hold down and tap up, she enters a while standing state for exactly 1 frame. If we go back and look at Mendez's guide, that's exactly the amount of time that we need to be in a while standing state in order for her cancels to work. We don't technically need to enter a neutral input. We just have to be in the while standing state. So this means if we do down, down towards, and then tap up while holding down while this crouch dash is going, and then tap towards while holding down, immediately after that, here's what happens. We get a dash cancel, and you can see the input here is down, down towards, down, which is just the normal crouch dash input for Raven, and then an immediate up down, and then a down towards down. And you can see here I am able to do these consecutively, which normally you can't do. Normally you can only chain 2 of these. What's cool about Hitbox in particular, might be a little trickier if you're a keyboard player, is that the up button is positioned in such a way that you can hit it with your right or left hand. Again, this is because the Hitbox was designed by Marvel 3 players, so they wanted to do instant air dash stuff and jump cancels and those types of things and use their right hand for some of that timing. So this benefits us here as Raven players because we can use our right thumb and our left index finger here on player 1 side to input this dash cancel and vary the speed that we do it at. And you can see she's able to do a hell sweep almost at any time during this crouch dash. She never actually stands up. You just want to make sure there's like a few frames around that while standing input where if you do it, you'll get a haze input. But for the most part, unless you really just have to learn the timings and figure out when and where you can hell sweep during these animations. So that's basically how it works. And again, if you take a look at the inputs, it's really all you're doing is alternating the holding the down after inputting a single crouch dash and alternating between up and towards. And you just really have to do it while the crouch dash is still going to get the cancels. And I think it's a little easier to go fast than it is to go slow. The other neat thing about doing this on Hitbox is it's basically the same to do it on player 2 side as it is on player 1 side. So you can see here, still getting the same crouch dash cancels, still vary up the speed. just have to make sure that you're canceling it while that first dash is still going, and then you can do it indefinitely. So I'm definitely not a master of this. I think that once people get really good at doing this on Hitbox, they'll be able to replicate some of the twitchy crouch dash movements that you see pad players use, where they kind of roll their thumb between the down and the down towards inputs. And I think you'll also be able to find some unique crouch dash timings because of how much control that we actually have when doing this on Hitbox versus doing this on a stick or on a pad. So yeah, that's how this crouch dash can be done using SOCD on a Hitbox or on a keyboard or a Mixbox. And if you have any questions about how this works, or if you find something else cool with Raven's dash cancels on Hitbox, let me know, either here or in the Raven Discord. And hopefully you guys found this guide helpful.